third one, the risk calculation has now gone to net positive. And what that means, the retail guys at FXCM are now net long on average across the week. And that's quite bearish. It's a bearish circumstance for indices. The reason for it is that the retail guys, on average, they are very counter trend and they tend to lose money on average. So this video is going to serve as just a notification that if we were to buy the dip in S&P, that we would be doing the same on average as the retail traders. Okay, so that's actually quite worrying, and I'm pretty sure the banks would be watching retail sentiment and knowing what the retail guys are doing, and they might be positioning themselves within the coming days for a risk off event, because we know that the retail guys are counter trend, and if they're buying, then the opposite should happen. Okay, now one thing you must be aware of is the QE program that's been pumped so vigorously by Fed and other central banks. So it's going to keep price buoyant, and how long it can last, probably infinitely. So just be advised is that when just because we're risk off, we are fighting a QE program that can just pump price. And what might happen is that if the Fed taper, China could take over, and then they can inject liquidity, and they could do like a tag team, and it could just be a big payday for the retail guys. It'd be unusual. So what I want to show you is the S&P chart and what happened with the risk calculation when we went net positive last time and we had an almighty crash. And that was about a week or so after we flipped to net positive. So I want to show you that. And so what I'm going to do is close this. I showed you that, so that's okay. All right, so S&P, right, so around about here, they went net positive. So they actually started to go long. Okay, admittedly, this coincided with the COVID, supply and demand. I say that all the time. I mean, supply chain issues. And so there was obviously people having issues getting to work. Gold miners couldn't mine the gold, and all sorts of issues. Technological issues, social issues. There's a massive ramification for finance. It's a big problem. So it coincided with this COVID, and they just happened to go long at the worst time. We fell very, very heavily, and so possibly it's going to happen again. But we don't have this COVID narrative, right? So just something to bear in mind. And that's so just a quick example of what happened when we went that long. It was just around about here, and what happened, they tried to buy the dip, and they got so burnt on trying to buy, they thought, no, I'm not going to have any more of this. I've lost too much money. I have to sell it. And so they shorted it. And even though it went up, they held on to that short bias. Due to media, whatever reason, they held bearish. Even despite it just rocketing and rallying, they held bearish up to today. Okay, so today is a very, very important day for risk calculation for the Quasi TV guys, and even you guys who aren't subscribers. You do need to be aware of what's happening right now. So currently with S&P, we've got the super trend support 4260, right? And the secondary part of making this video is that I did want to bring your attention to the correlation between the Euro, Aussie, and S&P. So note the spike, and we're looking at the 16th of March. 16th of March, okay? So maybe like a week after, there's like a slight delay there, right? So big selling and big buying, right? So there's definitely a correlation between the two, and this is why I produced the Euro-Oz signal, and it was to sell, because when I produce the signal, we weren't risk off at the big picture. However, now we are risk off now. It could impact things. But do be aware, technically, we're strong and we've got a big QE program boost in price that could go on forever. All right. And I think they asked Neil Kaskari of the Fed, and he said that they had infinite funds or something like that. It was just ridiculous. So unless something happens that's going to impact society in the way that COVID did, we could potentially just keep rallying. All right, so maybe just keep an eye on 4260. That's your support. And just to bring your attention to the correlation between the two, it's a negative correlation, but it's clearly there's something there. All right, so there's a big spike. There's a big spike. All right, so we are in nice profits. Our stop, well, I put it on the Telegram. We are up about 20, 30 pips. Yeah, about 20, 25 pips or so, and I think we'll probably continue to fall if we were to look at the small time frame. If I go to my point of control, there, that's where I'm going to target 15732. Lots and lots of pips on offer. Admittedly, this is going to disregard the spreadsheet and this risk calculation, but we have to remember the QE program, right? And it's like an unprecedented system. It's an unprecedented thing that they've implemented. They're just printing money, and now it looks like they're going to raise the debt ceiling. We're going to continue higher and higher, and it's just going to be really painful for the bears. So it could be potentially payday for the retail guys. And the last thing to note is that while the retail bears have sold, they got punished for so long, it could just be simply time for payday. It could just be a time, where, they've been slaughtered for so long. It could just be a little bit of recompense, just like a reward for your patience. So, I mean, we could probably continue higher, but there will be a point where the SSI on the risk calculation is going to get extreme, and then we will fall, I think. And so that's just it. So just a two-part video just to say about the correlation between the two. If you're not aware of, use it to your advantage. So you can see an S&P chart for going up, this is going to fall. And the S&P comes down, this is going to go up. All right, so this is why I published the short, because we were risk off at the time of the signal that I published. And I think potentially we could continue the risk on theme. And we've got NFP tomorrow, so that is going to skew things. So just a quick one, and hopefully it wasn't too confusing. Just remember the QE program. It's going to really it's going to impact things, and it could just mean payday for the retail guys. Well, this is fine because they've been destroyed for so long, and this has blown up hundreds of thousands of accounts in the process. So it could just be recompense and a little bit of reward for all that punishment that they've underwent. So that's that. So we're doing well on the EA, and I'll let you know when we get to target or when I take profit, and I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know on the main chat. So that's that. So an important day for risk, but we could simply ignore the retail sentiment and continue anyway because of the fundamentals and that QE nonsense. All right. So be patient. We've got NFP tomorrow, so just trade safely as per. If you need any charts, just let me know. Hopefully this was a good learning experience for you if you didn't know the correlation between the two, and you can use that to your advantage. So I'll speak to you soon, and have a good day.